Going back into project management, now we're going to talk about our two-way sync with Microsoft Project. WorkOtter, in effect, becomes like Project Server in that we're the central repository for resources and we consolidate all the plans. Now, the MPP files, or the Microsoft Project compatible files, can be easily imported and synced continuously through the life of the project. So it's not just a one-time import, as you're about to see. It's a very capable way of using Microsoft Project files in order to create forecasts, timesheets, to-do lists, and even web-based Gantt charts without having to have a license of Microsoft Project whatsoever. So let's go take a look on how the Microsoft Project integration works within WorkOtter. For this example, we're going to go ahead and create a new project for our testing. So I'm going to say new project. And for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to call it MSP for Microsoft Project. And we'll say save and continue. Now, since WorkOtter is the central repository for resources, we'll want to create our team right here in WorkOtter. We can do this before or after we sync, but it's to your advantage if you do it before. So I'm going to go ahead and assign, as we have in past tests, I'm just going to assign some generic roles, and I'll assign a few specific people. And we'll add that to the team, which is now complete. Now we're going to go activate Microsoft Project Sync, and to do that I'm going to head back to the home page, and as you've seen me do before, we can expand this very top menu, and there's a sync option. And one of the options within this is to allow user-initiated Microsoft Project or MPP file sync. This is just saying we're going to reset the plan to allow you to sync. And when we've done that, if you have a keen eye, you might have noticed there's a new left side menu option for syncing Microsoft Project. I can now click on that, and that's going to open a modal. It's a very simple process. Basically, the only thing you can do right now is upload your compatible project file. If I click on this, it brings up the ability to open that. And I'm going to go ahead, before I actually do this, I'm going to open this directly in project just so we can take a quick look. So notice how this project has its own work breakdown structure. I've already got resources I've just typed in informally, like Nick and Kathy. It has milestones in here, as you can see by the black diamonds. Okay, so it has a lot of things already built in. We can go look at the resource sheet, of course, and you expect to see Nick and Kathy, and we do. Now, these won't be recognized by WorkOtter. It needs to be in the correct format, but I'll show you how easy it is to replace these. So I'm going to go ahead now and close this. Just wanted to give you a chance to look at it. And we'll go ahead and sync it with WorkOtter. Now, when you do the sync process, it has to upload to our server and check it for viruses, of course. And then we begin to go through and enter in the deliverables, tasks, milestones, start dates, end dates, hours, even your baseline will come back in. That's all done, so I'm going to close this little modal, and notice how now we have a plan, and the dashboard's been filled in. And if we go look at it, this all came and is still stored in the Microsoft project file that's now up on our server. And as I was promising, if you want to see an elegant Gantt chart without having to have a copy of Microsoft Project, you can certainly do that. Also note that there's the syncing options right here within the plan for your convenience. Okay? But now maybe we want to make some changes to that plan that we uploaded. Or maybe we want to go ahead and assign the WorkOtter people. So I'm going to go ahead and pull back up the sync, and now notice the only option is to download. And when I click on that, it downloads it using the database ID from WorkOtter for the project. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and open that file. And it's the same plan you just saw, and it's still Nick and Kathy, but there's something interesting that happened. If we go to the resource sheet, notice how Nick and Kathy have been joined by a lot of other roles and people. So Joe's in here twice because Joe's wearing two different hats on this project. So is Diane, so is Susan. Here's all the generic roles. So these are the things we can now staff within WorkOtter. And to do that, if I head back to the Gantt chart, I can come in here, I can select either the entire plan or the things that I want to. So I'm just going to select the items that have the staffing, right? I'm going to go to Resource, Assign Resources, And notice how Nick and Kathy are assigned to all these, but I'm going to replace Kathy using the built-in tools that Microsoft allots you. So I'm going to say replace Kathy, right? And Kathy's going to be replaced by Susan, okay? And Susan's recognized by WorkOtter, and Nick's going to be replaced by Joe, okay? So I've replaced those very easily within WorkOtter, okay? I can also assign additional people should I wish to. So if I want to come down here, for example, and make some additional changes, maybe assign a generic capacity planner and a client lead to these. Okay, so we've done our staffing. I can also come through here and make whatever changes I want. Like I'll delete this task. I can change dates, do whatever I normally would do in Microsoft Project. So I'm going to go ahead and close out my project file. Yes, I want to save it. Yes, I want to re-upload it to recognize my changes. Okay, so when I do that, it's going to ask me to find the file. Now we put a special key inside the file when you download it, so we always know the right one. So just be aware of that. So I'm in the downloads. Here's the one I worked on. I'm going to upload it back to WorkOtter, and it's going to resync the milestones, deliverables, and tasks, but this time it's going to see those assignments to those people that WorkOtter does recognize. And when that's done, guess what? Those tasks show up on people's timesheets. Those tasks show up on people's homepage. They can check them off as to-dos. So we've really taken Microsoft project files and enabled something much deeper. And you can see that here, that those assignments have come through. Now, I'll just be honest, at some point during a long project, I have terrible luck with Microsoft Project. While I do like many of the features and have grown to like them over many years of using it, at some point my plan always seems to get corrupt. So one of the ways which we sometimes recommend to folks is at some point you may not want to keep syncing back and forth. So if I just want to manage this here, because maybe my plan's not changing that much anymore, I can disable the sync, which disconnects it from the Microsoft project file. And now I have full control where I can come in here, like for this task, and I can adjust the dates, save it, and let it just control it right here. So just be aware of that. You can sync it from cradle to grave, or you can break the sync and just use WorkOtter. But that's how the Microsoft Project syncing works.